Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Roll the Hit. On today's video, we're going to be picking back up where we left off last week. We're on kind of step 3 in creating your first player character. This is the session on ability scores and modifiers. It's all those numbers that go down the side of the player character sheet. And I want to give this some extra kind of special attention because that's one of the first introductions to the math or the numbers that people see, and it can be a little intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. So we're going to spend some time kind of going through the 3 methods for getting to those ability scores and what they mean in terms of modifiers and what that means in terms of rolling a d20 and letting the dice determine an outcome. So this video really kind of propels us towards how you actually start playing Dungeons and Dragons. So stay tuned. Also, if you're getting a lot of good help out of these videos, please do me a huge favor and like the videos themselves, and then like them by clicking the thumbs up, and then subscribe by hitting that little button there. Hit the little bell icon at the top of the notifications so you get notified when new videos drop. Mostly they're coming out every Thursday, but sometimes I'll pepper some announcements in between the week so you just don't want to miss anything. Now, on to ability scores. Okay, so the first thing I think we need to do is set a little context here before we get into the ability score conversation. Context is important because what we're going to need to do is talk about why these ability scores matter, what they do for the game, and really kind of how they are integral to how we play what one might call a D20 style game. So this is a game where we roll a 20-sided die when we want to determine some uncertain outcome. So making an attack, or checking for a trap, or can we scale this wall? Can we jump this chasm? Can we influence this noble? You know, all of those things that happen within the shared imagination of everyone at the table, those outcomes are determined by rolling the 20-sided dice that everyone has, including the Dungeon Master. All right, so now that we've taken a look at the context, the framework for ability scores, one other important piece I want to add to the equation is the notion of modifiers. So for each ability score, that's the number associated with strength, wisdom, intelligence, dexterity, charisma, constitution, whatever you roll in the d20, you're going to add a modifier to that roll. And the modifier depends upon what the ability score is. And I'll just show you a chart, and it'll be easier to talk about it that way. So here you can see a table of scores, ability scores, and their associated modifiers. So the D20 that you roll as you're building up your ability scores for each of those areas, strength, dexterity, etc., is going to be on the left side. And depending on what you roll, what you will add in the game to a check or an attack or whatever it is that's going to be using that skill or that characteristic, you're going to be adding, or in some cases you can see here, subtracting the modifier. So for example, I'm in the game and my Dungeon Master tells me that I need to make a strength check. Well, if I go to my player sheet and check my ability score for strength, let's say it's a 14. I roll a d20 on strength. My roll, let's say I roll a 10. So then I will go 10, and then I will look at the modifier that I need to add. My strength's a 14, then my modifier is a +2. So then I would say, well, does a 12 work? And then the Dungeon Master would have a number, a DC, a difficulty class associated with that check, that if my number beats that number or is the same as that number, then I succeed. Yeah, I know, it's a lot, but that's okay. We're getting there. So you're like, Ryan, where do you get the numbers from? Okay, now you kind of understand what they all mean. How do you get them? All right, so have you ever heard somebody say we got to roll up a character? What they're talking about is rolling dice to get to the scores on those ability scores. So let's get some dice. All right, so you remember at the beginning when I said there are 3 ways to get to the ability scores? The first is we're going to roll 4 d6s. Let's do it. So the first thing we need is 4d6, a pen, and something to write on. We're going to roll these guys in. We're going to take good roll. We're going to take the top 3 here. So that is going to be a 16. We're going to write that down, 16. We're going to do it again. Take the top 3. So we got 5 plus 3 plus 2, so a 10. I'm going to write that down. And then do it again. Another good roll. I take the top 3, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to write that down. And we do that for the rest of, let's say, a fast forward. Let's say we get an 11, an 8, and a 12. And there you have it, folks. Those will be your ability scores. And notice I've just got a list here. You don't have to assign these to any particular ability yet. What you'll do is you'll take this set of scores and you'll go back to what the details are within the class that you're trying to build. That will give you some hints as to where to put your highest scores. So for example, if you're a fighter, you're going to want to put your 16 on strength. If you're a rogue, you're going to put your 16 on dexterity, and so forth. All right, so you can tell probably just by giving a little bit of thought that by rolling 4d6s, you could get some really great scores as high as 18, or some really terrible scores as low as 3? Is that even a thing? So that's where the next one comes in, the standard array, which is just an easy way of saying, listen, let's just create some really balanced characters, and these are the ability scores that you're going to have. You're going to have 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. That's it. Assign them however you want to. The standard array. So, simple, right? And the third and final way to get to ability scores is something in the Player's Handbook called the point buy system. It looks really complicated. It's really not. I think about it more like the rules give you a $27 budget, and you have that $27 to spend on your ability scores, and each ability score costs a certain amount of the money in that $27 budget. So if you want an 8, that doesn't cost you anything, 0. If you want a 9, it costs you $1. A 10 is $2, 11 is $3, 12 is $4, 13 is $5, 14 is $7, and 15 is $9. Right? So if you think about it, you've got $27 to spend, you can get 3 15s, spend your whole budget, and the other 3 scores are going to be 8s. So you can really kind of, that's called part of what kind of this terminology min-max that you might have heard of comes into play, where players may want to really amp up some component of their character by maximizing the points on one side of the spectrum and just going for nothing on the other side. That's whatever is fine with me. The Dungeon Master that you're working with will tell you which of the 3 methods they would prefer you to use as you're rolling up a character. But yeah, that's the point buy system. So you've got $27 to spend, or 27 points to spend, and you can buy ability scores as long as you stay within that $27 or 27 point threshold. All right, folks, so that's the 3 methods for determining ability scores, and a little conversation on what those ability scores mean on getting to modifiers. So there's, in summary, rolling for them, the standard array, and then the point buy system. So those are the 3. Keep trucking, build that player character sheet out. Next episode, we're going to talk about proficiency bonus, and then we're going to really start filling the details in.